They say being strong is a choice, but what if you never had one? I didn't wake up one day and decide to be the strong one. It was inherited, handed to me, like a role, like a mask. I grew up in a house where emotions had no room to breathe, where "I'm fine" was the only acceptable answer, even when your world was falling apart. My father was quiet, not calm, just quiet, like someone who'd built walls so thick he forgot how to step outside them. My mother was tired, not just from life, but from carrying a family that never truly spoke. So I learned early, don't complain, don't cry, don't feel too loud. Just hold it in. Smile when people are watching, disappear when they're not. You become a mirror, reflecting everyone's needs, but never showing your own. I was the one who held space for others, the good listener, the safe one. But no one asked where I went when the room emptied. No one wondered why I always laughed, but never shared. Why I could give advice but never say I'm not okay. You'd be amazed how many people love you, as long as you don't need them back. Being strong, for me, wasn't about courage. It was survival. It was the only way I could feel useful, worthy, safe. But over time, you begin to notice something terrifying. The world doesn't check on strong people. They assume you're okay, because you always were. You could be screaming in silence, and no one would hear. You start to wonder, if I broke down, would anyone even notice? Or worse, would they get angry that I dared to bleed? That I stepped out of character, that I asked to be held instead of holding. I remember a moment. It wasn't dramatic, just quiet. I was in a coffee shop, alone, pretending to read a book, watching people pass by, laughing, hugging, living, and I felt like a ghost, present but unseen. I realized I'd made myself so small, no one could even see me anymore. You don't notice when it starts. You just shrink a little every day, until you don't recognize your own reflection. The strong one, the fixer, the peacemaker, the one who holds broken things, but never their own. And it's not just friends, it's family. Lovers, co-workers, everyone builds comfort on your silence. Because if you fall apart, they'll have to face their own cracks too. So they praise you, strong, reliable, solid. But what they really mean is convenient. Strong people don't get asked twice. They don't get forgiven easily. they don't get grace because they're not allowed to be soft. And that's what breaks us. You see, even steel bends when bent too long. Even rivers flood when forced to be quiet. I reached a point where I couldn't fake it anymore, and that's when I knew something had to change. I didn't want to be the strong one anymore. I just wanted to be a person. Messy, human, seen. I wanted to stop holding my breath for once and just exhale. But here's the thing. When you've been the strong one for too long, you don't even know how to fall apart. You sit in the darkness, hoping the pain will just evaporate. But it doesn't. It lingers. It follows you into the shower, into bed, into your dreams. It becomes a part of your breath, of your heartbeat. One day, I stared at the mirror and said, I don't even know who you are anymore. I didn't recognize my own face. Tired eyes, tight jaw, half smiles, and a voice in my head whispering, keep it together. But why? What am I even keeping together? A version of me that only exists for others. A performance, a survival script. Truth is, I was crumbling, and no one saw. Not because they didn't care, but because I trained them not to. You see, when you constantly say, I'm fine, people stop asking. When you smile through pain, they assume you're happy. When you keep showing up, even when you're breaking, they think you're unbreakable. But the truth is, no one is. Even the strongest people have moments when they want to disappear. Not because they hate life, but because life stopped feeling like theirs. You become a character in someone else's story, and somewhere in the pages, you lost your own plot. So I decided to stop. Not dramatically, not with some big gesture, just quietly. I let go of being the emotional support for people who never checked if I was still breathing. I started saying no. I started saying, that hurt me. I started saying, please, I need you too. It was terrifying. Vulnerability felt like peeling off skin. But something strange happened. The people who truly cared, they stayed. They listened. They didn't always know what to say, but they showed up. And the ones who left, well, maybe they were never really there. I started writing again, not for anyone else, just for me. Pages full of honesty, messiness, fear, longing. Things I never dared say out loud. I cried in the shower, for the first time in years, not from weakness, but because I finally felt safe enough to break. I stopped trying to be the version of me that made everyone comfortable, and I started asking, who am I when no one's watching? You know what I found? Someone scared, yes, but also someone deeply human, complicated, kind, flawed, and so worthy. Not because I carry others, but because I exist. That was the moment I stopped trying to be the strong one and started trying to be the true one. And that changed everything. I no longer needed to be unbreakable. I just needed to be real. Some days, I still fall back into old habits. Smiling when I want to scream. Holding silence like a badge of honor. But now, I catch myself. I pause. I ask, what are you really feeling? And I listen, not with judgment, not with shame, just presence, just love. Because if I've learned anything, it's this. The strongest thing you can do is feel. To cry, to rest, to ask for help, to admit you're not okay. Not because it's easy, but because it's honest. And honesty is how healing begins. So if you're listening to this and you've been carrying too much, too long, let me say what maybe no one has said to you in a while. You deserve to put it down. You deserve rest. You deserve softness. You deserve care. Not because you've earned it, not because you've checked enough boxes, but because you are a person, a breathing, feeling, complex soul. You are not a role. You are not a savior. You are not a symbol. You are simply you. And that is enough. Take this moment. Place your hand on your chest. Feel it rise. Feel it fall. You're still here. Despite everything, still here. And that, my friend, is the most human thing of all. If this spoke to you, send it to someone who's always been the strong one. And if you've carried too much for too long, leave A in the comments, so we know we're not alone. You don't have to be strong here. You just have to be honest. This is my roar, where we see you, where we reflect you, exactly as you are.